All right. Hello, ESLCO. Welcome back. I know things have been really different for the past couple of days. I hope that your March break has been as restful as it can be. But now that we're back, I'm just going to hopefully answer some questions that you might have about school in general and about the class moving forward. So, as you could probably guess, we are going to be working from home from now onward. We're going to be holding classes online. I ask that all of you fill out the Google survey that I've posted in Google Classroom as soon as possible. This is just going to let me know who has access to the internet, who is able to continue with online learning, and who might need some assistance, whether it's that you need access to a device or you don't have internet. It's just going to clarify all of those questions for me. So if you can answer that Google survey as soon as possible, that would be excellent. This is also going to work as attendance. So when you respond to the Google survey, it's showing me that you've attended class. So it's going to count towards your attendance. So class for ESL for English is going to sort of be as close as it can be to regular school. So we're going to have classes Monday to Friday every day. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to watch a daily video just like this one. And then you're going to be completing a small task in Google Classroom. Now, I don't want you to worry. It's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to be a big, crazy task. It's going to be something very manageable just so that you can continue keeping up with your studies. I'm hoping that by the end of the week, we can maybe organize a Google Hangout so there can kind of be a video online class. That way we can all see each other, touch base with each other. But before we organize that, I just want to make sure that you guys have access to the devices that you need. Also, if you have any questions, you can always email me. My email is elizabeth.aylward@ocdsb.ca. I'll be answering emails Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with any questions that you might have. So with all of that said, we're going to begin our first lesson. So, as some of you might know, we are beginning our Canadian Studies unit, and the fundamental question, the big question I want you guys to be asking yourself today is, what does it mean to be Canadian? So this question is different to everybody, of course, and I want you to think about what this question means to you. So for the next couple of seconds, I want you to think about all of the things that you think it means to be Canadian. So I'm going to give you a second to think about that. Okay, so these are some of the ideas that I came up with when I was thinking about what it meant to be Canadian. And we're going to go through kind of all these different pictures, think about what they all represent, and then I want you to think about which one is the most important to being Canadian for you. Because your answer is going to be different from somebody else's answer, of course. So the first one that we have here is the National Anthem of Canada. Of course, you guys know this one. You listen to it every morning when we are in school. Some of you might really appreciate this anthem. Some of you might not. And that's perfectly okay, but still it is an important staple of Canada nonetheless. Here we have snow and cold weather, of course, is a big part of Canada. I don't need to tell you guys this. Many people think about how cold our country is, and this is a big part of Canadian culture. Freedom of speech. So this is the idea that you can say what you'd like to say, and it's protected by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. So freedom of expression, being able to share what you'd like to share, is a really big part of what it means to be Canadian for many people. Playing hockey. So hockey is a very popular sport, of course, in Canada. A couple of my students play hockey at school, and this is another part of Canadian culture that we think about a lot. Healthcare. So the idea that if you are sick in Canada and you're a Canadian citizen, you can go to the doctor if you need to. This is a really important part of being Canadian, and many people believe it's sometimes the most important part of being Canadian. So this is definitely something we can think about. Nature and the great outdoors. So you guys know Canada is known for lush forestry and really beautiful wilderness. Camping is really popular here. Actually, 40% of all of Canada is forest, which is wild to think about. So it's definitely a big part of being Canadian. Being polite. So it's kind of known, or there's this idea that Canadians are known to be very polite and respectful. I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but this is kind of a belief that's held. So, some people maybe believe that that is important. And of course, Tim Hortons. You guys know that I love Tim Hortons. I drink it often and bring a Tim Hortons coffee to class pretty frequently when we're in the classroom. This is a Canadian chain restaurant, and it's named after a hockey player, which of course we talked about earlier. So these are all kind of the ideas that I came up when thinking about what it means to be Canadian, and some things to think about when thinking about which one is the most important. So now that we've reviewed some ideas, I want you to think about what it means to be Canadian for you, because your answer is going to be different than somebody else's answer. So for your task today, you're going to be thinking about the question, what does being Canadian mean to you? And in your opinion, which of the following items is the most important to being Canadian? Why? So you're going to write a 1 to 2 sentence answer, and you're going to post it as a comment to this video in Google Classroom, and that will be your task for today. So I've listed all of the different items that we've spoken about just earlier, but if you have any different ideas, please share them. If they're not on the list, that's totally okay. I'd love to hear your ideas and what you think is the most important part of being Canadian. If you don't agree with anything on the list, that's also fine. You can just write 1 to 2 sentences about why you don't agree, and that's perfectly okay. I'd really like for you to post an answer. If you make a spelling mistake, that's totally okay. I don't want you to worry about that. I'd much rather you make a mistake and respond with an answer than to not answer at all. So please don't worry about that right now. And that's it. That's the end of our lesson for today. Just like I told you, they're going to be nice and quick. They're not going to be anything scary or overwhelming. So I'm going to review your comments, and we'll discuss some of the answers in Wednesday's lesson and Wednesday's video. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions or concerns about today's lesson. Again, my email is elizabethaylward@ocdsb.ca. And of course, just a quick update from Mr. Fish. He's doing very well. And I'm really proud of all of you guys for being so resilient and being so strong throughout this difficult time. If you need anything, just please let me know. And I will see you on Wednesday. Have a lovely day.